Good afternoon to you. It's always a pleasure to have you join us on the program Health Living with yours sincerely, Olunje Oyewai. Health Living, we'll be talking about things that has to do with mother and child. Yes, not only with fathers, but because head is always head, and when the head is healthy, you will have enough time to know that it never will have enough energy to stay healthy also. All right, so today, Healthy Living, we'll be talking about World Breastfeeding Week. Yes, a whole long week, yes, starting from, it has started already, started on August 1st down to August 7th. And to do justice to that with us is the person of Professor Ayebo Sado. She is Director, Institute of Child Health, UNIBEN, UBTH, consultant, pediatrician. We also have, good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon. Hello, viewers.
And shall we have Dr. Aino Odigie. She is a consultant neonatologist, Institute of Child Health, UNIBEN, UBTH. Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon. Thank you.
And yes, we have a nutritionist in our house because a whole lot of breastfeeding women, they actually don't know what to take to have enough nutrients to be able to deliver well on breastfeeding to their young. So we have a nutritionist in the house today, the person of Mrs. Phil Imade Ameze. She is the Chief Nutrition Officer at Edo State. It's a pleasure having you today here.
Good afternoon, ma, and good afternoon to the good people of Edo State.
Okay, now World Breastfeeding Week. We know every year the UN, WHO, yes, we celebrate World Breastfeeding Week, and we want to know what's so special in the year 2026 as far as World Breastfeeding Week is concerned. Now, with our topic and theme being breastfeeding for a sustainable start in life, strengthening what works. Now, we want to know, first off, we know a whole lot of women out there, they know what breastfeeding is. But the issue of the fact that, yes, breastfeeding is not being practiced by a whole lot of women. I would not say by women, because some women, they practice breastfeeding. So first off, what is breastfeeding? Let's start with Dr. Sadu.
Okay, so breastfeeding is the act of feeding the baby with the mother's milk. And indeed, when God created all animals or living things, yes, He provided the food for each species. So a goat will feed the kid its milk. The cow will feed its calf its milk. Yes. So for the human baby, they're supposed to take the mother's breast milk. So all mammals, there's animals that have breasts and they deliver their youngs live, yes, yes, they have breasts to feed their babies. So the human babies should be breastfed. Okay. Now, just like you said, most women will breastfeed, but it is the quality of the breastfeeding that we're talking about. In the human infant, we're supposed to exclusively breastfeed the baby for the first 6 months of life, and thereafter continue up to 2 years and beyond while adding on other foods. So that exclusive breastfeeding is very important, and indeed we should pay attention to it, because in Edo State the statistics stands at 13.5% of mothers being the ones who practice exclusive breastfeeding. That means about 86.5% of mothers are not exclusively breastfeeding their infants, and that is a problem.
Okay. I would like to ask Dr. Aino Odigie, what's so special about this year's World Breastfeeding Week?
Okay. But like you said, the theme for the year is breastfeeding for a sustainable start, strengthen what works. So it simply means that breastfeeding is the foundation for every child. It's, you know, when you want to build a house, you have to make a firm foundation to help the house stand. So that's what breastfeeding does for babies. It gives them that good beginning to help them in future. Like when the discussion goes along, you're going to see that we have several advantages, not just the short term, the long term advantages. Then when we talk about strengthening what works, several studies have shown that optimal breastfeeding, which we're going to explain as the discussion goes on, is very essential. So it's essential that, just like my chief said, we should optimally breastfeed our babies.
Yes.
Not just breastfeeding. There's a definition of what optimal breastfeeding is. So that should be encouraged.
Okay.
So,
Okay, I would like in our explanation today, we should try as much as we can to, you know, break it down.
Okay.
So the mothers in the village, the ones that are not well educated will understand what we're trying to talk about, because we are here to educate the populace. Now, the nutritionist in the house, we know very well that breastfeeding is important, even when we go for antenatal checks and all of that. Now, there's this at the beginning of breastfeeding a child. Now, what is the importance of that, you know, that milk to the life and health of the child?
Thank you very much. When a baby is born, within the first 1 hour, the baby should be put to breast.
Okay.
You know, say why? The breast milk that comes out at that time has a yellowish substance, which most people, they will extract and they will throw it away. But that yellow substance contains immunity, contains antibodies, contains a lot of growth hormones that will help the child to grow properly. And it also have a laxative effect that will help the baby to cleanse the colon, that to cleanse the intestine, to cleanse the digestive tract of that child, to make sure no remnants or anything that will affect that child. So that breast milk that that child takes at that time is like the first immunity for the child. So within the first 1 hour, a baby should be put to breast to take this very important yellowish substance, which is known as colostrum.
Okay.
That colostrum now, we have seen the benefit to that child. But not only that, when the child is born, they need fluids. Breast milk contains the right amount of nutrients, including water. That means till that baby is 6 months, no water, no any other supplements, or what our people call a agbo or formulas. It should be strictly on breast milk, because the importance is to make the baby prevent diseases. It will for growth and proper development of that child, and it helps the baby's brain to grow properly. That's why they say for growth and development. And not only that, it also brings about bonding. Bonding between the baby and the mother, and also to the family. Okay. So the benefit of breast milk cannot be overemphasized, because one is beneficial to the baby, to the mother, to the family, to the community, and to the country at large.
Okay, now Prof said something. She said the percentage of women breastfeeding their young has declined strategically.
Yes.
Now, we are from Edo State, you know, so we want to know the reason why. If enough, you know, sensitization is not being done in Edo State. But first off, let's go back to Prof. Sado. Now, in all of this, having a long week, so what's the, you know, what is the body as an institute doing to make sure that women have enough information to know how to carry out their duties? I love the way you explained breastfeeding. So if a mother out there knows that she, as a woman, she has an organ in herself to be able to breastfeed her young, I believe she should know that that is her sole responsibility when the child comes out into the world. To know that, yes, this is my responsibility for this child at a particular time of the child's life. So we want to know, how is this being practiced, and how can one actually know that, yes, this is my responsibility as a mother?
Okay, so the preparation for breastfeeding starts a long time before the mother even gets pregnant.
Okay.
As a society, we must encourage breastfeeding. So in Nigeria, Africa generally, we are a breastfeeding society. So what has happened is that we have now started taking up cultures that are alien to us. So why do I say it's a long time? So society accepts that breastfeeding is how a baby should be fed.
Yes.
And therefore, when a mother gets pregnant, the older mothers should prepare the younger one on how to go about breastfeeding. And then even within the healthcare system, women attend antenatal clinics, so we also pass on that information to mothers. When your baby comes, breastfeeding is the best way to feed your baby. Not only that, we also examine each mother to ensure that there isn't any abnormality that may impair the act of breastfeeding. So for example, some women have flat nipples, some have inverted nipples. So if we detect that before the baby is born, there are things that we can do to ensure that breastfeeding is successful. And then when the baby is born, there are things that we do. We do skin to skin. So baby is born and put on the mother's skin even before you clean up. And interestingly, experiments have shown that once you put a baby on the mother's tummy, the baby starts moving, and where is it moving to? Towards the breast. It's an innate reflex. And so we help the baby, put the baby on the breast, the baby begins to suckle. So that is stage one, and then subsequently we continue to support the mother to breastfeed. Now, all of these stages have benefits, not just for the mother, but also for the baby. So, for example, that breastfeeding at the time that the baby is just born helps the placenta to come out. There are stories told of women who had retained placenta, just put baby to breast and the baby sucks, the hormone called oxytocin is released and just contracts the uterus, and woof, the placenta comes out. So even the continued breastfeeding after the baby is born helps to squeeze out any other blood, remnants of placenta that might be in the uterus. So mothers will tell you, as they are breastfeeding, they feel this contraction in their uterus. A bit painful, but it is helpful to stop the flow of lochia postpartum. So God did not make a mistake when he decided that the human baby should be fed by breastfeeding. And so we talk to mothers antenatally and then postnatally when they come for immunization in the Institute of Child Health. So when you come for your first immunization, which should be at birth, we help you, show you how to position your baby, how to get the baby to attach properly, and then we follow you on subsequently to ensure that that breastfeeding experience continues up till 6 months and beyond.
Okay. Now, Dr. Eno Odige, who is a neonatologist, we will go on a short break right now, but before that, we want to ask you a question. Now, we know you deal with premature babies, yes, day in, day out. Now, for mothers that have their young at maybe the ICU and all of that, now, how do they get to bond with their babies? How do they have that bonding, you know, that spirit, that bonding time with their babies? And also, why don't we have, you know, mothers? You know, we usually see them outside, you know, when it's time they are being called in, and some aren't able to go see their young. So a whole lot of women are wondering, why does this actually happen?
Okay. First of all, know that for preterm babies, there are babies that didn't get up to the gestational age for delivery. That's 37 completed weeks of gestation. So it shows that they are still very immature. And this immaturity spans from immaturity from their respiratory system. They can't breathe properly, they can't fight infections, they can't digest food adequately. So it just goes all the way from head down. So the first thing that we do when the mother delivers a preterm is that we ensure that this baby is in an incubator. Incubator helps with the temperature control, because they are still very young. They can't control their temperature, cold and warm and all that, so it helps them. Then for the breathing, we have to put them on oxygen. So in other words, all of this, the baby is kind of separated from the mother. However, even the digestive system, like the stomach or the intestines, are not fully developed for feeding. So usually we don't start immediately. We don't start immediately because we have to start gradually to ensure that these babies can actually digest the feeds. Would this mother breastfeed this baby immediately? Not in all circumstances. For the bigger preterm babies, yes, she can. But for the very young ones, their suck reflex is not well developed. So the baby might not be able to suck directly on breast. However, we still encourage breast milk. So what would this mother do? She would express her milk, Then gradually we feed the child and gradually increase as the child tolerates it. And breastfeeding is key. We don't encourage formula feeds for preterm babies because, of course, they will digest breast milk better. Then you also talked about bonding for preterm babies. There's what we call kangaroo mother care. When these babies are a bit more healthy, in the sense that they can cope with breathing, cope with temperature, we encourage what we call kangaroo mother care, like the skin-to-skin care that Madam talked about. We put the baby on the chest of the mother and tie a wrapper around them to provide warmth for the child. That helps for bonding. Not just bonding, that position also helps to keep the mother's breast warm, which will increase the blood flow to the breast. It would also help for milk production in the breast. So eventually, her production of milk improves with that contact that she has. So even for preterm babies, we encourage bonding, and yes, breast milk too.
Okay.
So just to add that, when babies are sick or small like this and temporarily the baby is not feeding, we encourage the mothers to express their milk. They can keep it so that when the baby is ready, it's their mother's milk they start feeding on. We do not encourage formula at all.
Okay. All right, thank you so much, Professor Sado, for that, and of course, Dr. Aino Odige. We will be going on a quick short break. We'll be right back.
The man went out to bring in thugs to come and beat her. In a situation like that, do you think women would have seen that and still want to speak?
Really, we're talking
That's
about
what I said. So
that's,
when they bullied her, if she's not bold enough, she will shut up.
What is your advice for girls out there that are so desperate to be married?
We women, we have to be really intentional about our parenting.
If you know a child is being abused, or you see signs, a bruise or a child, it has to be investigated.
People barely even breathe when they are going for a shrebi and something.
Party.
You have to be
They
smart.
can't sit
If
down.
you see where they are dressing them or dragging on both sides, you cannot you cannot breathe. And these women will stay in those events for hours just to keep up with that beauty trend.
Is that healthy?
That's not healthy.
I am Patricia Uremu Gabriels, and we're reaching you live from our Lagos Network studio. Of course, Women in Conversation is a program designed for women to discuss about themselves.
Many thanks for rejoining us on the program Healthy Living, and sure, we're talking about breastfeeding. It is World Breastfeeding Week. All right, let's go to our nutritionist quickly right now. A whole lot of, you know, we've talked about the statistics and all of that, how the declining rate of mothers breastfeeding their young. Now, we want to know, as a nutritionist, what are mothers expected to do before and after? Before they put to bed and after they put to bed. And we also know of the fact that some women already, even before they put to bed, you hear them say, oh, I have started lactating already. So we want to know, what's that woman doing differently that the other woman is not doing that, you know, helps in lactation?
From what Prof said earlier on concerning the statistics of breastfeeding in Edo State as being 13.3%, that's for breastfeeding. Therefore, early initiation, we are having 45%, which means that
That's a pass mark.
let's go.
45% is not
Yes,
pass mark.
listen, which is we now discover that, just like you said, so women are already lactating even before they give birth to. So by the time they give birth to their babies, they start breastfeeding. That means it is already established. That's why we are having 45%. But you can see continuity is not there. That's why we're having 13.3% for those that are not exclusive breastfeed their baby. The exclusive breastfeed their baby for the first 6 months, 13.3%. So now, what are we looking at? That before that woman gives birth, even before she becomes pregnant, later is orientation, teaching them that breastfeeding, the benefit of breastfeeding, the knowledge. Say knowledge is power. Say blessed is he that read it. So if you expose them as they come to, once they are pregnant, go for antenatal. In our antenatal clinic in Edo State, they have been taught. Most women, they don't go for antenatal. It's when they want to deliver that you see them. So those ones, it will be very, very difficult for them to get that knowledge. But once a woman is pregnant, that's one of the reasons we are here. We want to sensitize the public, the importance of breast milk, that if you register on time, the knowledge will be there. People are there to help you. when you get information that will make you exclusively breastfeed your baby, so that 13.3% in Edo State can change. Okay. So they need sensitization and advocacy to our key leaders in our community, our imam, our pastors, traditional youth leaders. That's why at times we sensitize them. During this breastfeeding week now, we are going to sensitize the public. We are going to have meetings with the traditional leaders, we are churches, mosque, to sensitize on the benefits of breast milk and the knowledge of breast milk, the importance of breast milk. We are going to go into it. That's so that these indices for Edo can change.
Okay. Like, all right, Dr. Ino.
In addition to that, another reason for the decline is the myths associated with breastfeeding. You hear mothers say, my breast milk is not enough. The breast milk is enough. The more you breastfeed your child, the more the body produces. It's ask and demand. So the more you empty the breast, the more your baby sucks. If you introduce formula, you would reduce the production, because the baby now sucks less, so production will be less.
So the more you give, the more
your body produces. Yes. Then another myth too that most of them feel is that formula is the same thing as breast milk. It is not the same thing. It is not. I don't even regard it as a substitute, because there are several things in the breast milk that are lacking in the formulas. The protein in breast milk is easily digestible, so it's very different from formulas. Then like the fat also is an essential fat that the body produces. That is totally absent in formula. So those means these beliefs to also contribute to this decline.
Okay, we also see some mothers, they have excess, excess milk and all of that. They store it. Now, the storage, is it healthy for mothers to store their breast milk? And how long can this last for, Prof?
So that's a very important question. And it actually dovetails into what you said about how can a mother prepare.
Yes.
So you need to tell yourself before you put to bed that I am going to exclusively breastfeed my baby, and that I can. And one of the major challenges is work. Women who have to work outside of their homes. So how can they cope? Now, when the baby is born initially and the mother starts to lactate, they produce much more milk than the baby can take. So that is the point where you start storing your milk for the future, for the period when you will step out of your home. So you can refrigerate. Refrigerating, putting it in the deep freezer, it can last for up to 6 months. And then you can put in the fridge. That stays about 24, 48 hours. And then you can put, that is expressed now, put inside a bottle, put inside a plate of cold water, just ordinary water, room temperature. And that can last for 6 to 8 hours. So even if NEPA has decided to be your enemy, you can still express in the morning, leave it enough for the child to take in the afternoon before you come back. So that planning, most mothers don't have it, and so when they just come in, I'm resuming work, or what am I going to do? The next thing they think about is, but if you have planned from the beginning, you would have stored your milk from when the baby was very young, and then another thing is that more milk comes at night. So you can do your expressing in the night, preparatory for what the baby will eat during the day when you are not going to be around. So breastfeeding can be very rewarding when you see the babies. Sometimes when I see mothers doing that, I say, maybe I should have another one. But no, I'm waiting for my grandchildren.
All right, it certainly has been an exciting one, yes, educative one at that, on Breastfeeding Week. I tell you, mothers, it's easier and cheaper to breastfeed your young. You don't need to start calculating where you get your salary, how much you'll be able to go to the market to go get the formula and all of that. Try as much as you can. We know it's not easy, especially for mothers that don't lactate well. Like our prof and our other guests have said, yes, the more you give, the more it comes out. So you need to just try as much as you can to, spoil yourself, to tell yourself, yes, I will do this, and and I can. So I want to say a big thank you to Professor Ayebo Sado, Dr. Ino Odige, and of course Mrs. Phil Imade Ameze. Thank you so much, Matt, for your time, and thank you for educating mothers out there. I hope we'll do this again next year, God
Just
willing.
one word before we go, because if you don't say this,
Quickly.
men must support their wives.
Very
so once
essential.
they are supporting, then the mothers will be able to do it. But if the mother is just stressed all by herself, that's a problem. So men, please support your wives.
Men, support your wife. Do have yourself a blessed day. Bye for now.
This is ITV.
Certainly the best.